Hello everybody and welcome back to a new video. I am Pat from Pat's Path Predictor, and before we begin, I posted my May 3rd, 1999 tornado documentary out today. The link will be in the description below if you want to check it out. But with that out of the way, we got some very crazy severe weather that's potentially going to be happening. We have an enhanced risk of tomorrow for Oklahoma, an enhanced risk for day 3 for much of the Mississippi Valley, as well as some interesting outlooks to take a look at for day 6 and 7. We already have a 15% risk for those areas, which that's not very common, and we'll be taking a look at all of that. Let's go ahead and dive right into this. Alright, so this is the situation we have right here. There's a slight risk for today. We're going to go ahead and cover this briefly because the big threats we're seeing is a 5% tornado risk as well as a little bit of a wind risk. So we have a slight risk from Pittsburgh all the way down to Louisville, as well as a little smidge of it in the Rio Grande Valley. We have several marginal risk areas, which is a bit interesting, but it's not off the bat too concerning. This looks like your generic severe thunderstorm day right here. So yeah, I'm not that concerned. We're going to go ahead and talk about what's going on in the Ohio Valley real quickly before we move on to the big stuff. Late morning showers and storms over the Ohio will continue to move northeast into the upper Ohio Valley through midday, while weakening as a mid-level low trough from the mid-Mississippi Valley and southern Great Lakes during this period. In the wake of this activity, the air mass will gradually destabilize amid some cloud breaks as in a plume of lower 60s degrees Fahrenheit. Dew points advex north-northeastward into Ohio ahead of a weak convective-aided mid-level wave MCV located over eastern Indiana. There's Cape values are forecast to be 5,000 to 1,000 joules per kilogram across central and southern Ohio with enlarged hydrographs. Scattered to numerous thunderstorms will likely evolve during the afternoon, with the stronger storms being capable of hail, wind, and some tornado risk, especially with sustained supercells before the cognical and large upscale into one or more clusters. So that's generally all we are going to be talking about for today. Once again, if there is any tornado warnings that are going to be firing up, I will be on the community tab, so stay tuned for that. This is the day 2 outlook. This is where things actually start to get interesting. So there's a enhanced risk area for Texas and Oklahoma in Tornado Alley right here, the core of Tornado Alley, the severe storm capital of the world right here. This is where it's at. Includes Oklahoma City, Norman, Fort Sill, and Wichita Falls. The slight risk goes from the Texas-Mexico border all the way up to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Marginal risk up into Kansas, etc., etc. Let's go ahead and take a look at all of the risks just to show you what we could be seeing for tomorrow. The tornado risk has been up to 10% with a hatched area, which means there's a 10% risk of tornadoes with probability of EF2 to EF5 tornadoes possible within 25 miles of a point. So this is it right here. Yeah, and considering what we saw first with the Andover, Kansas tornado, as well as the tornado that hit parts of Oklahoma right there, just southeast of Oklahoma City, we'll be paying attention to this area right here, this hatched area. The wind risk is the lowest threat. It's actually at 15%, which is kind of weird because tornado threat's 10%, the wind's at 15%, but the tornado threat at 10% is actually a higher rate than the wind threat at 15%. I go over this in one of my other documentaries, so yeah. At 15% risk encompasses the enhanced and slight risk area right here, 5% everywhere else. The hail threat is the largest threat once again. 30% risk with that, all of that within that hatched area, which means there is a 30% risk of severe thunderstorms within 25 miles of a point. And this significant severe area right here, which means there's a 30% risk of 2-inch hail or more within 25 miles of a point. So that's the situation we have right here. And I'll be keeping an eye on this very closely, considering all the other stuff that's happened so far. So let's go ahead and read the summary, as well as what's going on in central Oklahoma. Summary: the storms may produce tornadoes and very large hail Wednesday afternoon and evening from the eastern Texas Panhandle and northwest Texas across southern Oklahoma. A strong tornado or two is possible within this corridor. Damaging winds will also be possible across much of Oklahoma Wednesday night, including the threat of isolated tornadoes. This tornado risk may extend as far east as the western Ozarks. So that's the situation we have right here. That's the summary. Let's see what's going on in Oklahoma, central and northern Oklahoma during the day, and then we'll go ahead and get to more of the juicy stuff. The rapid surge of moisture out of the south will result in scattered storms during the morning throughout at least midday, roughly along the north of I-40 and expanding into southeast Kansas and southwest Missouri. Forecast soundings indicate sufficient elevated instability and deep layer effective shear to support severe hail. Depending on how much outflow is produced, this convection may reinforce the warm front and provide a somewhat northern bound to the tornado threat later in the day. Eastern Texas Panhandle into the northwest Texas into southwest Oklahoma afternoon through overnight. Strong instability will develop east of the dry line by late afternoon as dew points increase into the 60s degrees Fahrenheit, roughly south of I-40. This will be a forward area of isolated tornadic supercells prior to the surging cold front intercepting around 3Z, which for those of you doing that's about 10 p.m. That's about 10 p.m. Central Time. Steep mid-level lapse rates will, as well as robust shear of 2 to 300 meters squared per second squared. Effective SRH in the warm front to the east may sustain storms despite an increase in capping, where strong tornadoes are possible. Eventually, a squall line is expected to form along the cold front, with damaging winds possible to overspreading most of Oklahoma. I want to actually go ahead and take a look at the DuPage models real quickly. We have the HER model pulled up. This is the precipitation. We're going to actually go to the Cape for tomorrow. So this is 24 hours out right here, and this goes up, and yeah, I'm noticing for the HER that the Cape is more. Okay, this is where it is. The Cape right here. Look at this. At least as of right now, according to this model, the 18Z run, the Cape is on average getting around 2,000 to 3,000. Some areas cracking 3,500 joules per kilogram in Oklahoma. So yeah, this is an interesting area right here. Let's take a look at the RAP. Has the Cape a little bit more widespread, a little bit further to the north. So yeah, interesting situation going on. Okay. All right, so yeah, this is interesting. So yeah, the Cape's not all that strong as of these model runs in parts of Oklahoma, but at the same time though, that threat is still there. So yeah, I'll be keeping a close eye on it. This is the best shot right here. We're seeing 4,000 joules per kilogram in some areas. The cap here, isn't that well pronounced either. There is some but the cap's more pronounced near the dry line in this area right here. But at the same time, it's not that different, not much pronounced in all the other Cape areas. So we have to keep an eye out for that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the dew points. The 2 points are going to be there for much of Oklahoma right here. They're going to be in the 60s and 70s right here. That's a very moist environment with the temperature right here. You can see that that the warm front is going to be stationed right here, and that cold front's going to be stationed. That dry line is going to be stationed over here. So this is the perfect setup for severe weather right here. So we got to pay attention to this. In some of these areas, we're seeing close to 95% humidity right here. So that's also going to play a factor in some of the severe thunderstorm activity right here. So yeah, we can even look at the relative humidity with this. Which, look at this. We're seeing some areas up here. Basically just 24 hours out, it's 97-95% humidity right here. So interesting situation that's going on. So yeah, I'll be paying attention and keeping a close eye on it as the situation continues to develop. Okay, where are my manners? We forgot to talk about southern Oklahoma to northern Texas. Models continue to suggest isolated to scattered late afternoon storms with more robust moist sector where dew points are above 68 degrees Fahrenheit are possible from northern Texas into south central Oklahoma. Given relatively weak lift within a diffuse warm advection zone, capping may play a key role. However, persistent moistening of the boundary layer may eventually break the cap from below. Any residual outflows could also provide a focus. Steep level lapse rates around 8 degrees Celsius per kilometer will exist at the mid-levels, which will conditionally support the significant tornado potential, as shear will be quite favorable for supercells. Effective SRH of 2 to 300 meters squared per second square will be common, with the lengthy hydrographs will sustain any supercell that manages to form. So that's basically the situation we have right here. That's why these areas are under the enhanced risks where they are. So we'll be keeping a close eye on it. Day 3, this is where things start to get more interesting. There is now an enhanced risk from Missouri all the way down to Texas and Louisiana, including Greenville, Memphis, Springfield, Little Rock, and Shreveport, Louisiana. Area of population affected is 6.2 million. So that's basically what we're seeing with this. The probabilistic is already at 30%. There's no hatched area with it this time, but we'll be keeping a close eye on it as the situation progresses. So we'll be reading the summary as well as some of the synopsis. Excuse me. Summary: A severe hail threat. A severe threat will be likely wet Thursday across parts of the southern plains, Arklatex, Ozarks, and lower to mid-Mississippi Valley. Wind damage, hail, and a few tornadoes are expected. An upper-level low will move eastward across the central high plains on Thursday, with cyclonic southwesterly mid-level flow remaining over Arklatex, Ozarks, and the lower to mid-Mississippi Valley. At the surface, a cold front will advance southeastward across the southern plains. Scattered thunderstorms will be likely ongoing at the start of the period along and ahead of the front from Oklahoma into Missouri. The storm should be elevated, moving northeastward into the mid-Mississippi Valley by midday. Further southwest, a moist and unstable air mass will place by early afternoon from parts of central Texas northeastward into eastern Arkansas, where surface dew points will be in the mid to upper 60s Fahrenheit. Moderate instability will develop among the moist sector by midday. This, along with the increasing low-level convergence along ahead of the front, will likely result in steady increase in convective coverage across the moist sector in the afternoon. Some model solutions suggest a squall line will organize and move eastward along the Arklatex by afternoon, reaching the lower Mississippi Valley by early evening. This possibility seems reasonable. A 50 to 70 knot mid-level jet is forecast to move into the base of the trough during the afternoon across the southern plains and Arklatex. On the right side of the feature, a moderate to strong deep layer shear with strong lift will create conditions favorable for severe storms. The NAM forecast soundings at Shreveport have the Cape at 2,000 to 2,500 joules per kilogram, with 0 to 6 kilometers from 35 to 45 knots. This will be sufficient for supercells with storms that can develop further to the east across the moist sector and away from the squall line organizing to the west. Supercells that can develop will have a potential for hail, wind damage, and a few tornadoes. However, the winds are forecast to veer into the low levels as the front approaches. This will be more favorable for the development of a linear MCS than a discrete storms, which would make wind damage the greatest threat. Tornadoes will be the possibility with the strongest rotating cells embedded within the squall line. Wind damage potential is expected to ramp up towards the late afternoon and early evening as severe linear MCS moves across northeast Texas into the central and eastern Arkansas into northwest Louisiana. Farther southwest into the southern plains, the tail end of the squall line should be located somewhere in East Texas, where a wind potential damage potential will exist. Although moderate instability will be in place for the Texas Hill Country along the Texas coastal plain, any cell that initiates will remain very isolated. So that's basically what's going on. I want to take a look at the NAM model real quickly. Let's go ahead and look at the dew point temperature for the NAM. Okay, there's a new set coming in. Let's go back to the 12Z just to show some context to this. So yeah, I'm looking at this. We're seeing 70 up to 73 degrees of a dew point right here by 21Z. So that's a pretty moist environment. The temperature will be around 76, so the humidity will be pretty impressive, into the 90s essentially. We can take a look at the relative humidity. The relative humidity by that point, it will be in the 90s in all these areas right here. These are where the storms really are going to be at. So yeah, that's basically the situation we have right here. Let's take a look at the Cape for this. So yeah, the Cape's not that impressive. It's more impressive in parts of Texas and parts of Oklahoma right here, cracking 3,500 joules per kilogram. But the Cape in parts of like Louisiana and Arkansas, they're approaching 2,000 to 2,500. Some areas getting close to 3,000, but not nearly the Cape that we're not the kind of Cape we're seeing in Oklahoma. So that's essentially what's going on. Once again, it's more of a wait and see. We're going to probably see some severe weather that's going to happen in these areas, but at the same time, it's too early to tell what exactly is going to happen. We don't have the risks yet. We'll have to wait for tomorrow to get those. So let's go ahead and go to the day 4 through 8 outlook. Day 4 is predictability too low. Predictability too low. Day 6 is where things once again get interesting, because day 6 we already have a 15% risk from just outside of Omaha all the way to the Kansas-Oklahoma border, including Kansas City and Wichita. So, yeah, and they don't. And the 15% risk at day 6, we don't issue that very often. But what's more uncommon right here is the day 7 outlook right here, where they have a 15% risk from parts of southwestern Minnesota down to Kansas, including most of western Iowa. So that's another area of interest I wanted to talk about. So, yeah, there's a situation right here. We already are 7 days out, and we're seeing 15% risk for severe weather. So, depending on how that's executed, that could mean that this is just the models that are going off the edge, or that means we could be seeing some potentially bad severe weather. I'm not going to say it's going to be either of them, because it's too early, but still, we have to pay attention to these, and we'll go ahead and talk about this real quickly for day 6 and day 7. Model differences increase on Sunday, with some solutions moving to a shortwave trough across the central and northern plains, while others maintain southwest and mid-level flow in that same area, with models in better agreement concerning the moisture return, with a moist and unstable air mass in place by afternoon from northeast Oklahoma to north-central Missouri. Under that scenario, severe storm development will be likely along the west edge of to the north end of the stronger instability, but that would be dependent on the timing of the shortwave trough. Due to the magnitude of instability that is forecast and the potential for a shortwave trough to impact the region, a 15% contour is added for parts of the Central Plains and lower to mid-Missouri Valley for Sunday. This is to day 7 and day 8. So right here. On Monday, the models are once again in reasonable agreement concerning moisture return in central United States, with richer air mass of the season advecting northward in parts of the lower to mid-Missouri Valley, with potential for strong instability, surface dew points in lower to mid-70s Fahrenheit. Wait, the surface dew points to lower to mid-70s Fahrenheit. That is a lot of moisture right there, and that's off the bat concerning if we're talking severe weather. But anyway, with a shortwave trough of southwest mid-level flow, will add a 15% area also for Monday over parts of the lower to mid-Missouri Valley. The same potential forecast is for Tuesday in some model solutions, but increased uncertainty on day 8 at the furthest out range will hold off adding a severe threat. So I want to take a look at this. I want to take a look at one of those. Actually, I'm going to take a look at the GFS model real quickly just to see what's going on. This is the Midwest right here. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, never mind. Alright, there we go. This is the Cape right here. We're actually going to go out 6 days, so yeah, this is the Cape. Okay, this is interesting right here. In parts of Oklahoma, we're seeing Cape values. This is for Saturday. And we're seeing Cape values already closing in pretty quickly, actually. And then the Cape values, hold on, what is this? Oh, wow. The Cape values for Saturday in Oklahoma are at 4,000 joules per kilogram. I want to see what the cap is with that. Okay, hold on just a second. Yeah, the cap's pretty non-existent there. I want to take a look at the dew point temperature there. So yeah, we could see something for Saturday as well. But again, there is some uncertainty to it. Look at the dew points. We're cracking 75 in some areas. So yeah, let's go ahead and play this out right here, and then for day 7 right here. But yeah, this is day 6 right here. Lower 70s and 72 to 73 degree dew point. The Cape on this thing is pretty insane. We're over at, this is already 6. This is 6 days out. This is 6 days out. 5 days out. We're already cracking 4,000 joules per kilogram of Cape in this one model. But once again, this is too early to tell. We don't know what's going to happen. So play it by ear. I mean, I wouldn't say play it by ear, but I would say watch your local news source with this weather and keep an eye out on the SBC, and I will be updating you guys as that situation progresses. But with that being said, that is going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps me out and helps me make more videos like these. The goal here is to get people more involved with weather. Also, I said this in the beginning of the video, the May 3rd Bridge Creek War Tornado documentary is now out. The link is in the description. Please go watch it. It is much appreciated. But until next time, guys, have a wonderful day. Stay safe.